Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to be sending a probe to the Jool system, and I am doing a series where I have a 50-point challenge, and in that series we have to send a probe to each planet before we can send Kerbals there. And I'm working on a compilation video that'll just have my encounters with Moho and Drez and Jool and Elo. So this is a companion video to the series. If you want to watch the series, there should be a link in the top right that you can click on. It will take you to the playlist, and you can start watching from the beginning. And for episode 28 is going to be the compilation video. So I'm going to take clips from this video plus the previous other videos so that you can watch and see each encounter, but you can do it in a compressed time frame. So that's the purpose of this video, is to get there. And I'm making the long play versions available to anybody that's interested in watching to see how I get there. So here's the ship. We've been using this ship for every mission. It's worked pretty well. We were not able to capture an orbit around Moho, unfortunately, but I did get Drez pretty easy. And up next, we're going to Jool, and it requires less delta V than this ship has, so we should be good to go. Okay, so one thing I noticed, I don't have enough antenna to reach the Jool system. If I try to go out there with this, we would barely have signal in certain parts, but then in other parts we'd have no signal. So I've got to upgrade my antennas, and I have bigger antennas. I need 2 of these. I don't have them unlocked yet. I'm going to need the RA100s. So we're going to have to spend some science points and grab the larger antenna. This one here is what I need. So I'm going to spend 550 points on this, get our bigger antenna, and we'll have to use this for Jool and for Elo. Now let's see how big are these going to be. They're probably pretty massive. If I could just put one right on the end. I could get away with one, actually. One would work for this mission. In fact, what if we... Let me take a look at my spreadsheet. Okay, so it looks like with this antenna, and I could stick 2 of these back on the sides here where I had them. We really don't need 2 of these, but if I have 2 of these on here along with the 100, that would give me a minimum of 51% signal strength. So I think we're going to go with this. This will be our setup for Jool. I didn't check Elo, but I imagine we'll probably have to have something similar for Elo. But anyway, this will work. So let's get this fairing built back. And try this again. Alright, this is going to be Jool probe. I'm glad I noticed that before I flew all the way out there and lost signal strength. Because I actually have a rocket in orbit. For those that are watching the edited version, I've already put this rocket in orbit, and then I realized that it was not going to be able to communicate. If you're not familiar with the series, I'm doing a 50-point challenge, custom challenge that I made for myself, and we have to put a space station around each planet, and then we have to land a Kerbal on each planet. But I've put preconditions in place where we have to probe a system first before we can send Kerbals to a system and that type of thing. So my next step in the progress is to go back to Moho once we finish probing all the systems and set up relay network around Moho, and then send a science lab to Moho, and then ultimately land Kerbals on Moho. And once that's finished, we'll move to the next system, which I'm debating if it's going to be Eve next. I may wait and do Eve last, actually, because that's going to be a challenging planet to land on. But as of now, the plan is just go in order, but I'm going to have to really research the builds that are out there for landing on Eve, because it takes 8,000 delta V to leave Eve, but I think you can parachute down, but to get back off the plane it takes 8,000 delta V to get off, which is over double what is required for Kerbin. Alright, come up on our second separation here. Alright, yeah, that seems to be working well. We also have to land on every moon, so the object is to plant a flag on every body that we can land on in this playthrough. So, the idea is Moho doesn't have a moon, but when I go to the next system that will have moons, we will stay in that system until we've planted a flag on both the planet and all of its moons. So, and I'm thinking of, I'll send a landing team out, and then I'll send resupply ships to the system that I'm trying to get to. Send resupply ships with fuel. Okay, now I can set a target. Send out a resupply ship so that we can refuel around the space station and go to the next moon in that system. Okay, well, we still have a pretty decent encounter here. That is good. That's good to know. I don't like this because it's actually going right through the planet here. I don't know. I really hate to mess with this. Okay, we can manipulate it, though, it seems. Yeah, that's better. Still not thrilled about the retrograde motion here. This is a 742,000 meter periapsis. Is that high enough above Jool? I'm not sure how far away we have to, what the sphere of influence is of Jool. So I'm thinking Let's keep it on out here a pretty good distance. Man, this thing is jumpy. We can always close our orbit in later. Let's go with this. Let's get on that maneuver. And it's going to take 351 days to get to my maneuver node. So that's going to take a little while, a little warping. I did deploy this. No, I did not. Let's deploy the solar panels and these other antennas. We don't really need these other antennas, but we have them. Let's use them. Okay, so time to do a little time warping. And mark. Okay, we'll burn for a minute and try to match this purple line here. Yeah, I was wondering about the orbit on Jool there. And it looks like on the Delta V map, it's giving me an orbit for 210 kilometers. So I'm going to see how close to that I can actually get. Or see if I can get it about 300. It just seems awfully close. But we're going to go for it. It's just a probe, so if we lose it, it's not a big deal. So we're going to try a 300 or 290 kilometer orbit around Jool. Now we're coming in almost in a polar orbit, which is not that big a deal, I don't guess. Once we capture our orbit, maybe we'll try to fix that. But for the purpose of this mission, a polar orbit is fine. Alright, so let us warp if it will let me. It will not let me warp that far. This is 2 years out. So will it let me warp to here? It will let me warp to here. Alright, well here we are in the Jool sphere of influence. I do not see it. It should be in front of me here somewhere. We're still pretty far out. Before I get up close, I wanted to make sure of something here. So I was going in for this pretty low 290,000 meter periapsis. It's going to be a pretty tight orbit. I just want to make sure that we're going to have signal strength to get our orbit capture here. So I can capture the orbit with, it's a 19-minute burn time. That's because I have these turned way down. If I go back to something like this, okay, I can get it to 10 seconds. So what I'm looking at is, will I be in comm range right here? for 10 seconds. I believe we will. Because we probably won't, because here's Kerbal. If you imagine a line from Kerbal to my periapsis there, that should be in contact, in range there. So I think we'll be fine to do that. So I'm going to go ahead, I think. There's Jool. So I think I'm going to go ahead and warp to this node. I'm going to get on my position first. What I'm noticing after this maneuver, we're still going to have 4587 delta V. So I could put this into probably a full polar orbit if I wanted to. I would probably do like I did on the last with Dres. I made it into a pretty big orbit so that it would have more line of sight around the planet to facilitate the future missions. Because the next thing we would have to do is get the relay network up. And we want to make sure that the delivery vessel has radio contact the entire time. Wow, look at Jool. Okay, I got to get a screenshot here. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool planet. All right, enough of that. Let's get, oh, we got to burn. I'm spending too much time sightseeing and almost forgot to do my orbit. All right, we have I don't know if I want to do a full, I think I'm going to leave this in a big orbit for now. Let's get our science while we're out here. And science is complete. So we have ourselves an orbit around Jool, and it's a pretty big orbit. But I'm kind of leaving this as a big orbit for now, just because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with this probe yet. I may end up pushing this periapsis out making a large orbit so that it'll help with communications. But I think for now I'm just going to leave it like this until we figure out what our needs are, and we'll go from there. But that does it for Jool. We have now sent a probe to Moho, Eve, Duna, Dres, and Jool, and all that is left is Elo. So we will do Elo next. And Thanks for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, there's a window to your top right that you can click on. It will take you to the playlist. And over to the left, there's a subscribe button. If you enjoyed this and want to see more of my content, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.